In 1993, September-ish, I was in one of the only math classes I ever took at the Montana State University, Bozeman. The most annoying person in the world was in the back of the math class to my right.
Patty always went to great lengths to make an ass out of himself.
Bozeman was a small town. There wasn't much to do there. So I had blue and green hair. I carried a backpack that had a foot sticking out of it.
He also carried a briefcase around. Even as much as I pretended not to care, I cared what was in there.
Yeah, I carried a briefcase with a can of Spam in it. And the summer before my final semester in college, somebody stole my can of Spam.
It's a mystery. What's exactly in that meat that we love so much? It's so tasty. No matter how you slice it up, it's a gourmet meal. Has a shelf life longer than my lovers. Open up another can, Spam, fry up another.
I picked up the can of Spam from a grocery store. One day I just thought, hey, can of Spam. That'd be kind of funny to have. Grabbed it, put it in my briefcase.
The can of Spam was really just supposed to be another crazy thing inside the briefcase.
And people kind of accepted it, and I'm like, why do you accept that?
Patty sort of existed about 3 feet in front of his own body at that time. It was just like his force field was here, but his energy was spilling out past the force field.
I mean, he really wanted the attention of everyone, and he got mine. And that can of Spam in his briefcase was always one of those things that it would come up in a conversation. Hey, there's a can of Spam over there. And I'd be like, yeah, that's Patty's can of Spam.
You can sort of trace his success with the female persuasion based on this can of Spam.
I don't mean to be a jerk, but I was always very surprised when Patty did end up with a girl. I just couldn't wrap my mind around that. The opposite sex finding him appealing in any way, shape, or form.
There were a couple of women that I had pretty good crushes on that inadvertently he ended up hooking up with. This never became any kind of tension between us. It was just sort of just good fun, I guess.
You know, I kind of connected Patty's can of Spam to Patty's romantic abilities.
What the can of Spam essentially represented was Patty's mojo. That's the only way I justified it. That made me feel better anyway.
Some dick went to the effort to steal my can of Spam. And I mean, I didn't know where they stole it from. I was thinking that maybe somebody had broken into my apartment when I was out one day. Nobody even left a little note that said, ha ha, we stole your can of Spam. No, there was nothing. It was just gone. Everybody denied it. But at the same time, everybody seemed to be smirking.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's beautiful, poetic, brilliant, karmic.
And right away, we noticed a change, that things had taken a turn for the worse for Patty.
After the can of Spam was stolen, yeah, I graduated from college that December, and I moved to Portland. My girlfriend moved out after me, and she broke up with me.
I attribute that to the Spam mojo wearing off.
I was not in good shape.
That's putting it delicately. I mean, Patty was fat.
No, I'm just built like this. My whole family's like this. We're just big people.
But he was fat.
I was a big fatty fat.
And I think that had a lot to do with the Spam being stolen at the time that it was.
When I first got to Portland, I remember walking out one day to get the mail. There was something for me. And I opened it up, and there was just a picture. Now playing exclusive engagement on a post was my can of Spam. I know it was my can of Spam because I knew all the dents and the dings and the scratches and the nicks on it. This is a good 5 or 6 months after it was stolen. I all of a sudden get a picture with my can of Spam. Something's going on here. Another one came a couple of weeks later, and then another one, and another one, and then another one, and another one. They kept coming and coming.
This joke went on for years. I mean, these envelopes would come in the mail, and there's another spam picture.
They were from all over. Spokane, Oklahoma, Florida, New England, Old England. I mean, photos came from London of my can of Spam. The pictures frequently had people in them, and I didn't recognize any of the people in the pictures.
A bunch of those spam pictures that came in from across the globe had all these hot chicks in them. It was just funny to me that Patty's can of Spam was getting way more action than him.
I started calling people up and saying, "You remember my can of Spam that was stolen? I got a picture of it. Did you send it?" It probably wasn't the best detective work I could have done, because a couple of weeks after that I received some photos in the mail of the can of Spam in my apartment, on my own bed, in my refrigerator.
God, that would have it's pissing me off right now just putting myself in Patty's position. I don't know how he held it together.
The more pictures that came, the more I realized it's obviously somebody that I know pretty well. All of my friends, they seem to know more about it than I did.
I had no association with it whatsoever. There really wasn't any kind of evidence I had been involved in it. Now, having said that, that was me there.
There were all sorts of little hints and clues on the pictures, little random scrawled notes.
See, this handwriting is very distinct. Obviously, the person that writes like this considers themselves to be some kind of really cool Gothic figure.
Look, he's pretty flamboyant in his writing. Mark is a dead giveaway because he puts X on everything.
Wait a minute. Spokane, Washington, September 19th. Oh my God! I don't even remember doing some of these things. It's almost like it was somebody else.
It was like he was a tentacle of a much larger thing going on.
Oh, that's beautiful. Who is this girl? She's kind of hot.
I mean, clearly someone was taunting me. I didn't think it could get any worse. I was wrong.
Labor Day weekend is a big time where all of our friends come out to the cabin at Newman Lake. Everybody gets together and we take a big group photo at the end. But this year, we did an ungodly thing.
Yeah. That's right.
We excluded Patty from that photo. We're all doing various fun summery activities, golfing, playing high-lie. Mark was digging holes. My dad, the neighbor girls' kids.
Where was Patty?
We just had my mom and my grandma call Patty up to do some vacuuming.
Oh, that's right. He was up doing like dishes or something.
We all stayed downstairs by the golf course and basically had a photo shoot with his Spam.
After the Labor Day excursion, I started seeing more and more pictures of the can of Spam that had my friends in them. I didn't know what else to expect, and I certainly didn't have any idea how it was going to end. But I guess there's a Spam newsletter, and JT sent in the story.
I had written in to the Spam company just because I was like, God, someone's got to care about this. And boy, was I right.
Yes.
The Spam scam. Or was it Spam on the Lam? And it's the story recounting what happened to Patty Spam.
I would hope that this would be a front page article for these guys. It has to be the most exciting thing that ever happened to a can of Spam in the history of the universe.
3 pictures of the incident.
There's pictures of Mr. Spam Goes to Washington.
One of them had me in it.
There's Patty and I looking very fat, very smug, happy with ourselves.
This article names a culprit.
The mystery's over. I know
the map spread out.
who did it.
A singular culprit. That's very interesting.
In JT's hand was my can of Spam.
Little does Patty know who scammed his Spam. It's his college bud.
I'm Mr. Jeffrey Ted Bach.
It's not true. I mean, how could I hide it any longer? I mean, basically the story broke.
No, it doesn't surprise me. No, I'm not really even that impressed by it. It's too complex when you start talking about all the people that were involved. And as far as JT being the mastermind of said, whether or not he's the mastermind is irrelevant.
The way the story was written is it really made JT look like the hero. The bastard who stole the can of Spam, he's the good guy. The guy who had the can of Spam in the first place, well, he's sort of an idiot.
And so they ended up giving me a whole bunch of Spam swag. Spam pens, Spam notepads, Spam frisbees, Spam cars. All of this great Spam stuff. First thing I saw when I saw that Spam notebook, I'm like, gotta send that to my dad. Gotta send the car to Mark.
I got none of it.
Yeah, he didn't get anything out of the whole deal. And it didn't even cross my mind. God, maybe Patty should have this spam notepad to write down his spam thoughts.
Somewhere deep down inside, he has to feel bad about it. Ever since the can of Spam was taken, I don't think I've had a healthy, normal relationship.
Only a complete, moron would place that much emphasis and meaning into a can of Spam, and I think that's the whole point of it, isn't it?
He not only accepted what happened, but he enjoyed it. This guy is so larger than life that he told that story with such enthusiasm. Look at what happened to me! Look at this happened to me!
At the same time, I was thinking, well, should I kick his ass for this?
It's a can of Spam, for Christ's sakes.
I'm probably still a little pissed to this day, and that is the fact that I never got it back. I never got it back. I always hoped that someday, well, we're done, we had a good time, here you go, here's your can of Spam back.
My dad and I were on a cross-country trip, and we were just taking photos. When we got to the grave of Elvis Presley, we had to get a shot of the Spam on there. And we just kind of backed off just to see what the reaction would be of these other people. And some old guy said, "Is that a can of Spam on Elvis's grave?" And this old lady said, "Well, that was his favorite? Of course it is, can of Spam. He loved it." And it just came to me that it should finally rest with Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll and the king of canned meat, all together.
Shit.
Patty definitely deserved what he got. What's the saying? You can't prank a prankster, or you can't, something like that. I think that proved that saying, whatever that saying was, proved that wrong.
I'm saying he still has it coming to him. Yes, I'd like to see him crumble away like the rocks on the side of a river.
After living through all that, the can of Spam probably has some place in history. Got him.
And that was about the meanest thing that I've ever done to anybody. But in the end, I'm glad I took it.